with that, I recognize Mr. Arrington for 5 minutes.
Look, can't find my notes, but I will tell you that the infrastructure for our country and the investment that we make collectively as a Congress is important to our economic growth, our economic security. All boats rise on the tide of American prosperity, and there are dilapidated components, crumbling infrastructure, as both parties have said. Here's my exception to this. We are $30 trillion in debt, and our deficit spending is crowding out private capital. It's driving up interest rates, along with other things like monetary policy, easy money. So we're in one breath talking about growth and job creation, and in another, we're setting ourselves back. Not only that, but with inflation, it's the most regressive tax that you can put on working Americans. So now you talk about infrastructure. We ought to target the core infrastructure, waterways, ports, roads and bridges. But you have tens of billions of dollars in subsidies for clean energy and with low carbon output ferries and buses. And I'm not saying that we can't have a good, honest debate on the issue of climate, but this is not the time to throw that kind of money. We've spent $500 billion more than we normally spend on infrastructure after trillions of dollars to help our country get through this unprecedented disaster of COVID. And we were all in on that. And now we want to spend $500 billion more. Now, my colleague said it was paid for. Maybe they don't stand by that today. CBO said $250 billion is not paid for. $250 billion. Do you know what the pay-fors are? Gimmicks. Both sides use these ridiculous, shameful, fraudulent gimmicks. Like, for example, $50 billion of that pay-for was a rebate rule, drug price reform, a rule that was an administrative action from the Trump administration. They never implemented it. So they're saying that they're saving something that won't be implemented and that was never even in play. People in the private sector who do that, and people in your jobs that do that, go to jail. We haul you before Congress and we browbeat you, and then we send the law enforcement to go arrest you at your home and throw you in jail. Now, I'll get off that. The other schizophrenic policy posturing from this administration that I see is with respect to critical infrastructure, i.e. pipelines. There are other components of critical infrastructure. But you know, you get a Colonial Pipeline hack and it takes away the whole northeastern part of our country's access to gas, and it is a full-blown crisis. And our president says that's critical infrastructure, and Russia don't hack and don't play with and mess with and disrupt our pipeline critical infrastructure. But then he cancels the Keystone Pipeline, which is huge in terms of energy independence, huge in terms of keeping the price of energy for our working families down. Makes no sense. We lose out geopolitically. We cede to Russia and China and other great powers that are breathing down our necks and don't have our values. And we also import more oil and gas that is produced by the dirtiest producers in the world. I mean, there is nothing that makes sense of that. Mr. Crabtree, the Keystone Pipeline cancellation and the havoc that wreaked on families and working people that had that as their livelihood, that put food on the table. Can you tell us a little bit about just the personal impact? I just described the macroeconomic impact, the security impact, geopolitical impact. How's that impacting you and the folks that you knew who were trying to make an honest living building critical infrastructure for the United States?
Thank you, Congressman. In 2019, a lot of our projects were shut down because of COVID, and there were many of our union members that didn't get to work at all in 2019. So 2020 comes around, and we get a project like the Keystone Pipeline that was going to employ a great deal of our workforce. We get started on it. 3 weeks later, it's canceled. The companies, that, you know, the majority of their assets are focused on one project. You can't go start on day one and say, we're going to build a project. So when they canceled that pipeline, it not only left me without a job, it left my company looking for work. So we went through 2019 because of COVID, didn't get to work. Now we got the president coming and shutting 2020 down. So yeah, there are 2 years that a lot of my members didn't get to work at all. And when you don't work in my industry, you lose your retirement credits, you lose health insurance, you lose your dignity, you lose your family in some cases.
Thank you for that. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for being generous to let Mr. Crabtree finish. I know I took more time than I should have, so thank you.